Don't remember anyone's names in this book. Hey guys, it's Sarah and I'm here with my August wrap up. So for the month of August, I ended up reading 7 books, which was pretty good. I had a very ambitious TBR for this month, but I read 7 full books and I have 3 that I'm in the middle of right now or that I just started. I'm actually kind of towards the beginning of all of them, but I will talk about those in my TBR that will be coming up tomorrow. But for now, 7 books. The first book that I read is The Truth About Forever by Sarah Dessen, and this one is a new to me author. I had never read a Sarah Dessen book before, but she was on my list of new authors I wanted to try this year, so I got to check that box. I was very happy about that. And this one I enjoyed. I wasn't blown away by it, and I was kind of expecting to be because a lot of people have been, but I really enjoyed it. It was good. It was a really solid YA contemporary. This follows a young girl named Macy, and she has a boyfriend, but he's not really focused on her. He's focused on kind of everything else except her. So she finds herself just wanting to please him all the time, I guess, and not really thinking about the fact that he's not really treating her the way that he should be. And over the summer, she ends up in a situation where he is away at a camp and she is working for her mother. Her mother does like real estate type stuff, and she really finds herself unhappy. And she ends up coming across a catering business that helped cater one of the events for her mom. And she kind of gets tied up with those people who work there, and they're complete opposite of her. They're very, crazy and spastic and unorganized and very go with the flow, whereas Macy and her mother are very structured and there's a schedule and all that. So she really finds herself drawn to these people because they're so different from her and everyone that she has in her life. So she ends up just kind of dropping everything and being with these people, and she loves every second of it, including a boy named Wes. So this was a solid 4 stars for me. I did enjoy it. I thought that towards the end, I kind of wanted to have a little bit of a better ending. Just kind of the climax of it was very rushed, I felt. And I thought, this is not a short book. This is a pretty good sized book. So I thought it could have been handled a little bit sooner. And I could have had more time with what happened afterwards, basically, I guess is what I'm saying. So, but I still really enjoyed it. I liked it a lot. I will definitely read some more from Sarah Dessen, and yeah, so solid contemporary. I liked it. The second book that I read is Ugly Love by Colleen Hoover, and I read this on my Kindle. And I buddy read this book with a friend of mine named Jenny, and we definitely wanted to do a Colleen Hoover because I've been wanting to read some more from Colleen Hoover, and so did she, so we chose this one. Oh my gosh, you guys. I loved this book. I could not put it down. Jenny and I decided we were going to try to read like 4 chapters a day, but we both kept reading ahead because it was just so good. We didn't want to put it down. This book is a little controversial though. A lot of people either love it or hate it, and I'm one of those who loved it. Jenny did too, so I was happy about that. But I understand why people don't. I understand. So Ugly Love follows the basic love story of a girl named Tate and a man named Miles. So Tate ends up moving in with her brother, who was a pilot for an airline, and they just move into an apartment together. She goes and lives with him while she does some school. And across the hall is a man named Miles, who is also a pilot and works with her brother. Instant attraction, very instant. And they end up really finding themselves wanting something from each other, but not quite sure what. And Tate finds herself really just drawn to him, even though he seems very cold and not interested. But something happens and he's interested. But he's also very closed off to the prospect of a relationship of any kind that involves any feeling. And he propositions her to basically have a friends with benefits type of relationship and nothing more. He basically says, don't expect any type of future with me. It's just not something that's a possibility in my life ever. So she finds herself trying to decide if she wants to take him up on this, if she can handle it, and if she can actually do that without developing feelings for him. So they go into this kind of agreement like that, and then things happen from there. I'm not going to give anything away because if I had been spoiled for this, I would have been so upset. And I know I'm very late to the bandwagon on this book. A lot of people have already read it, but oh my gosh, oh, it was so good. And my heart broke over and over and over again for Miles. He has a very hard past. He dealt with a lot of stuff, and just seeing him come to terms with everything from his past and how Tate kind of brought about all these memories and kind of forced him to face everything finally. Oh, it was so good. I really, really enjoyed it. I found myself screaming at both of them at points. And yeah, I loved it. I absolutely loved it. This is definitely, from what I'm hearing, I've only read 2 of her books so far, but I'm hearing this is the more adult version of Colleen Hoover. So there are some sexual scenes in here that are graphic. So fair warning on that. But seriously, guys, 5-star read. I loved it. I loved it. I loved it. I am 100% on the Coho wagon. I want to read everything that she writes. I'm in. I am 100% Colleen Hoover all the way. The third book that I read in the month of August is Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, the illustrated edition. So I read this along with my 8-year-old daughter. She has never read Harry Potter before, so this was her first time. And obviously this is a reread for me, but it's only the second time I've read it. I've only read the entire Harry Potter series one time, and that's it. But I want to read more, and I don't know why I haven't over the years. I should have reread them like 10 times by now. Believe me, I'm going to start doing that. But I loved this, and I loved going through it with her and seeing her reactions to everything. And there was one point where I said, hey, do you want to read some more Harry Potter right now? And she said, yes. And she got excited and sat down, and I opened the book and her face just lit up. I was just like, oh my gosh, my heart. Like, it just made me so happy, because that's how I feel a lot of times when I pick up a book. But we listened to the audiobook along with this. So we had this open in our laps. We were reading along. We listened to it while we were reading as well. And I think that really helped my daughter understand everything and be able to read the words, because a lot of words in here are hard even for me to pronounce, let's be honest. So I think it really helped her. And every so often I would kind of stop it and quiz her a little bit just to make sure she understood what was going on. And she was 100% like, she knew what was happening. So she was paying attention. So yeah. 100%, obviously it's 5 stars. It's Harry Potter. I absolutely love it. And the illustrations in here are beautiful. There's Snape. Oh, he's creepy. But yeah, and then after we finished this, we watched the movie, and she absolutely loved that too. She thought that was the greatest thing. So loved it. 5 stars, obvious. So the next book that I read was our book club pick for this month, and it was Everything We Keep by Carrie Lonsdale. And holy crap, this book was really good. I had never heard of Carrie Lonsdale. I'm not sure if this is a debut novel from her or not, but it was very surprising. It was a surprise. I didn't really know a whole lot about what it was. I didn't do a lot of research into it. This is what we're going to read. I downloaded it onto my Kindle and just started reading it, and I could not put it down. It was so good. So this follows a woman named Amy, who is kind of like a sous chef type person. She works in her parents' restaurant. She specializes in like baked goods and things like that. She is engaged to be married to a man named James. They've known each other since they were kids and been together that long too. And so they were engaged to be married. And then something bad happened. I'm going to read you the first sentence of this book. Here's the first sentence of this book. Like, I picked it up, chapter 1, first sentence. On our wedding day, my fiance James arrived at the church in a casket. What? Hands down, that is the best first sentence I've ever read. Ever. So obviously her fiance dies. It was a terrible accident on a business, like a work trip, business trip that he took down to Mexico. And however, at the funeral, she is approached by a woman who is a known psychic and tells her that James is still alive. Amy doesn't believe her, like blah, 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 and just tries to move on and, you know, does all this stuff. But there's little things that keep popping up here and there that are kind of hints that he's still alive, and it makes her question everything, makes her question whether he's still alive or not, and whether she needs to go try to find him. But all the while, she's also still trying to like not believe that and just know that, you know, he is dead. We have buried him. It's done. I need to move on with my life. So she struggles with that through the whole thing. Oh, it was so good. I won't give anything away, but oh my gosh. And there's a swoon-worthy new man that comes into her life that makes her question everything as well. And yeah, oh, it was so good. It was really, really good. And now Carrie Lonsdale has another book coming out in December that I want to like pre-order and read, because oh my gosh, it just really had me captivated the entire time, and I wanted to know what was happening, and I wanted to know what all this stuff meant. And you kind of go a little bit back and forth between the present day and kind of Amy and James growing up and their relationship and things that happened then as well that affected their relationship later on down the road. He has a messed up family, and yeah, oh, it was so good. It was so good. I highly recommend this one if you want something that's going to just keep you guessing the entire time. This was 5 stars for me. I loved it. The next book that I read is The Library at Mount Char by Scott Hawkins. This one I have a separate review video up for, so I will leave a link down below if you have not checked that out yet. I got this book from a website called Blogging for Books, and it is a review site where you can get physical review copies of books, but you have to have a blog or a channel or somewhere that you post reviews other than Goodreads. So I'll leave a link down to that below as well if you guys want to check that out. But if you have a blog or a YouTube channel, you can get some pretty good ones from there. So I won't go into too much detail about this one because I do have a separate review, but I gave this one 4 stars. It took me by complete surprise. I was not expecting what happened in this book to happen. And I kind of categorize this as magical realism. A lot of people say it's fantasy as well, which I could definitely see that, but they are living in like present day America. So it's not a completely made up world. So I think it's kind of magical realism in that aspect, as that it kind of, there's a little bit of both. But holy crap, like it's hard to explain. I don't want to say too much though, because I feel like if you're going to read this, you should go into it not really knowing what to expect, because it's the best way. And someone actually commented on my review video. They said, I read this book too, and the whole time I was thinking, what the F am I reading? And I was like, me too. That's exactly how I felt. I was like, what in the world is happening? I don't understand it, but I love it. So it was just crazy. I really liked it though. If you're a fan of magical realism or fantasy, I think you would really like this. I'm still kind of getting into magical realism. It's a little bit strange for me still, but this was a pretty good one to read. So yeah, I enjoyed this one, 4 stars. The next book I read, I received from the publisher in exchange for a review as well, which I do have on my channel. I'll leave that link down below too, but that is The Land of Enchantment by Leigh Stein. This is a nonfiction about a woman, Lee, who was involved in a very abusive relationship when she was younger, in her 20s. So it follows her relationship with this man named Jason, and yeah, it's kind of strange. So you follow them. They meet in Chicago. They start a relationship very quickly, and very quickly they decide to move to New Mexico, which is Land of Enchantment, and they spend about 6 months there. And that's the bulk of what their relationship actually was when they were living there, and just things not going the way they planned. And you kind of saw him changing, and she's realizing he's changing, but she's still staying with him. Kind of like that cycle, the cycle of abuse, basically. And then you also kind of fast forward a little bit to a few years later, and something ends up happening to Jason. And so Lee is trying to deal with that as well, even though he's kind of not really in her life anymore, but he always has a presence there because of what they went through. So yes, I don't want to go into too much. I do talk a lot more about it in my review video, but I ended up giving this one 3 stars. It was just okay for me. I didn't have a lot of sympathy for Lee, unfortunately, even though I felt like I should, because she was with this man who abused her. But I don't think there was enough telling of the abuse and description of the abuse to really make me feel sorry for her and to make me sympathetic, because most of what I got is like, why are you with him then? Just get up and go. So I didn't get a whole lot out of it, basically. But yeah, it was still good. It was a good read. She's a very good writer. Very, very good. I didn't get the sympathy that I think I was supposed to have for her, but 3 stars. And the last book that I finished in the month of August is The Girls by Emma Cline, and I am going to have a full review video up for this one as well coming up here in the next week or so. So this book follows a young girl named Evie who is 14, growing up in 1969, and she finds herself and kind of running around with a group of people who are loosely based on the Charles Manson cult and the Charles Manson murders that happened in the late 60s here in Los Angeles. And so you kind of follow her following them, basically. This book is more about Evie than about the cult, most definitely, but you can definitely tell the parallels between what actually happened in the 60s here and then what's happening in the story. You can definitely tell there's similarities and there's differences, and they're very, very specific. But I really enjoyed it. I really liked it a lot. I gave this book 4 stars, and I'll have more of my feelings on my review, but yeah, I really liked it. Emma Cline is a wonderful writer, and I thought her writing was very poetic, and I enjoyed it a lot, and I'm going to be definitely looking out for more books from her in the future, because this is her debut novel. But yeah, it was very good, and made me want to read more about Charles Manson, even though I'm kind of scared. But I want to now. Okay guys, that is it for me. That is what I read in the month of August. There were a couple things that I just wasn't able to get to. I didn't have time, but I'm going to push those to September. And then one that I talked about was The School for Good and Evil by Saban Chahani. Well, I don't know if I said that right. I got that from the library, but I had to take it back because it was due. So I never got around to reading that. But another time, I'll do that. All right, guys, let me know down below what you guys read in the month of August. What was your favorite book? Was there something that you were disappointed in? I'd like to hear that as well. And I will talk to you guys again soon. Hope you have a great day. Bye.